Hello, lovelies! It's been so long since I've checked in. Hello, hello, hello. How are you? I really hope you're well and happy and enjoying the sunshine that we have at this current moment. And yeah, I just want to check in. It's been so long. See how you are, let you know how I am, let you know what I've got coming up. And yeah, just to connect, really. It's been a long time. I've been in my little cave. I've been doing some healing of myself, that sort of health-wise. And I also, to be honest, I lost my mojo, man. I wasn't really quite sure what I wanted to do in there or what I was meant to be doing. So that's been interesting. It was a very interesting process, especially for a mojo and mindset coach. So as always, it comes a point when, you have to test out, practice what you preach, because this happens, right? We all find these times when we're feeling slightly off center, and it doesn't have to be overly dramatic either. Like mine was pretty big. Mine was like, oh God, what do I want to do with my life? And things that I had previously absolutely loved, like been really passionate about, just were not doing it for me at all. And so all of the previous things that had worked weren't working anymore. So yeah, so it's been some big experiences. And I think that's the thing when we get in these patterns, right, where we do our stuff and this stuff makes me happy and I just have to do that stuff, so I'm going to do it. And this other stuff makes me really unhappy. And we really get in those patterns. And I think, and often the reason why when something big happens, like something, it's often unfortunately bad news. Someone has passed away or a big accident, or we get a diagnosis or something like that happens. That's why we have these huge reset moments. That's why people often reinvent themselves in those moments, because everything that was known to them in terms of the familiarity in the body, the patterns that are in the mind and the body with thoughts and feelings, which becomes our physical body, by the way. That's probably a topic for another movie. But those patterns get completely torn apart. Our perception is that reality has been torn apart because we have a perception of what our reality is, right? So who am I if I'm not X, Y, Z? Who am I if that person is not around anymore? Or who am I if I have this, crazy diagnosis for my health? And so, yeah, so it doesn't have to happen, when a tragedy happens, but often that's the only thing that prompts us, because we are such comfort-loving creatures, with good reason, because our mind is trying to keep us safe, right? The mind is always looking to prevent hurt. So, most often that's not physical hurt these days, it's emotional hurt. So that's why we stay stuck in habits, we stay stuck in our little patterns, and it's really tricky to change. So I was kind of partly thrust into this experiment of losing my mojo, but partly because it just happened. I just didn't know what I wanted to do anymore. Partly it was health reasons. My body was behaving in ways that I was not used to at all. I've been a very lucky person physically. I've not had any major health issues until this year. And it was also partly sort of a deliberate experiment on my part, because I'm fascinated by this stuff and I teach this stuff, is how people can sort of find their mojo again. And look, when I say mojo, if you're like, what on earth is that? It's just, I use that term to mean getting back into your zone, getting back into your instinct, your guts, your soul, your knowing, as opposed to your thinking or your should brain. The stuff that lights you up. And it's the way that you feel when you're, in fact, let's just do a little quick exercise. Close your eyes down if you're in a spot that you can. If you're driving, obviously don't. But just take a breath in, breath out. And just center down into your body. So by doing that, centering into the body, really what we're doing is A, paying attention to any messages that might be there, but also B, just settling into the now. So not thinking about something that's happened in the past, not planning or predicting what's coming up in the future. Breathe in and breathing out. Breath, that's another one that's in the now. The breath is always in the now. And just by those 2 deep breaths that you've taken, you have already improved your physical health just right now. That deeper breath, that slower breath sends the signal to the body to settle. Cool. Now I want you to remember or imagine, it doesn't matter if this hasn't happened. You can remember or imagine yourself super happy, some situation. And it doesn't mean, you don't have to be laughing, smiling, joking around. It could be something that just you feel absolutely in the zone. You could be doing something that you love to do. Maybe you used to love doing something. This could be way back when you were a kid. It could be an imagined, something you sort of dream of when you let yourself. And just take a few moments and remember there's a lot more information in pictures. Picture paints 1,000 words. So if you can just create the picture and if it's helpful, notice and mentally note some words. So how do you feel? How do you look? Really just build that picture though. I mean, what are you doing for starters? Are you doing something in particular, some particular activity? Are you doing nothing? You might be lying on the grass in a field of flowers looking up at clouds, supposedly doing, in inverted commas, nothing. And just let yourself really drift away. It could be a great memory where you just felt like the world was your oyster. You might have felt free. You might have felt confident. You might have felt like the super funny one who really belonged. You might have felt like a great leader. You might have felt creative or just at peace, or you might have felt slightly altered, like in a spiritual way. Like you might have been so deeply engrossed in, I don't know, drawing, that you felt, if you analyzed it, you would feel like you were somewhere else. And let that picture build a bit more. If your mind is sitting there thinking, I can't think of anything, that's okay. Just breathe in, breathe out. There will be an inkling somewhere. Just get an approximation, right? And build from there. Sometimes we sort of lock this stuff so far away under all of the things that we should do in our life or the life we've created. Sometimes it can take a little longer for them to come up. Beautiful. Breathe in. And breathe out. Let yourself feel how that felt or how that would feel to do. Beautiful. And slowly, slowly open your eyes. That's you getting in your mojo. That feeling that hopefully you were able to draw on, and even if you just got the tiniest inkling of it, because it was only, I don't know, a minute or something, that's you getting in your mojo. Because in my experience and my learnings, we often have, through lifetimes, through decades, if you're anywhere near my age, I'm late 40s or past, we often have sort of pushed away plenty of stuff that we really loved, that we really wanted to feel, ideas that we had. It doesn't have to be an activity. That's just often how it does show itself. For a bucket of shoulds, or that we got ridiculed, or that we didn't belong, or we shouldn't be doing that sort of stuff. I am all about getting people back in that zone, because in my experience and my learnings, when people are true to themselves that way, in that really authentic way, you are so inspiring. You are so lit up from the inside and magical. And that is all we need in the world right now. Like that is it. Like And I know there's a fair bit of unpacking that has to go on around that. Yes, but I have to earn a living, Erica. Yes, hello, like I have children to raise, da 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 da. I know, and I'm not discounting those things. But I 100% believe, and like I said, have witnessed it in people, seen it in myself, experienced it, that there is a way to do both. I do not believe that you being happy and fulfilled would hurt your children in any long-term way, right? Sure, maybe there's an adjustment period. Maybe you being happy and fulfilled is the thing that will make you millions. It's just, we block ourselves so much, and we've got a whole society that tells us to do this, by the way. So it's rampant, it's prolific. And we would have, had families who were absolutely doing their best, just like I'm doing my best with my stepsons and, falling short plenty of times. But the point is, like, as adults, it comes back to us. And if you have this inkling that you just want to explore a bit more, or you could be feeling really in a hole, like I was, like you really lost your mojo and feel a bit lost, come and talk to me. I've put together this 6-week program because I've been trying to distill. When I came straight back from Mexico, people were like, oh, you're going to teach a workshop or something like that. And I just went, I'm not ready. I'm still processing it. I'm still working through it and figuring out how to integrate it into my sort of everyday life and bring it back here. So it wasn't just some cool experience that I went to, like a holiday, and then you come back, and everything reverts to how it was. That's exactly what happened, by the way, with my health. And that's what really forced me to apply the work, apply what I had learned. So everything I'd read in books, everything I'd experienced at the retreat, and it was definitely being applied at the retreat, but I really had to bring it back and integrate it. And so I've got it. I finally sort of made my way through and sort of found, what made a difference, what didn't make a difference, like, why does just positive thinking on its own not bloody work? It's definitely a good piece of the puzzle, do not get me wrong. But if you really want to move the needle, we've got to get into the subconscious, and we've got to get down to your cellular level, which is your nervous system of your body, right? Which is not your conscious brain. Meditation, that's where it comes in, baby. It's not the only thing, but it's definitely part of the puzzle. So part of this 6-week program that I've got, it's super light in terms of commitment. If you are interested and you want to join, it's what I'm saying is you just need to be able to commit like 15 to 30 minutes. Daily is ideal, of course. The more you do anything, the better you're going to get at it. I would say minimum 3 times a week. So if you can't sort of commit that timing, then it might not be the right time for you. If you can, because we need simple practices, right? This time of year is busy enough and crazy enough. I just wanted to make this a really easy framework where I guide you guys through 6 weeks of learning. So there'll be 2 like pre-recorded video lessons, which will be like 10, 15 minutes. That's it. So I'm going to teach you guys some of the science, the biology, the neuroscience, even some of the quantum physics, the epigenetics that's going on in the body, between the mind and the body, and how it affects our body and our lives. Like, it expands out, right? It's now been proven. The electromagnetic signals you're sending out from your heart, they've measured it as far as 3 meters away from the physical body. What? It's mind-boggling, the research. So I'll introduce you to this research. So we do want to learn, right? We still want to learn. Part of the reason is, if you're interested at all, then you want to learn that. If you just want change in your life, it's still very important to do the learning, because the learning brings the analytical mind on board. It like gives it proof so that it can come on board with the journey. And we will do some practices that help the conscious mind to focus in, to break old patterns. So many of us have lack as a pattern, like look for what's wrong. I certainly did, and I'm still working with that. That's my current practice. I can feel massive shifts, which have reflected in my improved health. I've also got like nutritional help and that sort of thing as well. But the biggest thing that moved the needle is me catching my thought patterns. Firstly, becoming aware of them. Secondly, catching them. Thirdly, replacing them with new ones, right? Then that generates a new feeling in the body. New feelings generate new thoughts. We have this different thinking and feeling loop that generates different decisions, behaviors, and then the result of different behaviors is an experience, and the result of that is a feeling, right? So we're getting in and we're sort of disrupting the pattern and then inserting our own new program. So the reason why meditation then is the third part of this 6-week journey is because that's when we get into the subconscious. It's one of the very few ways that we can actually get into the operating system. By the time you're 35 years old, this is fact, by the way, dead set fact, the percentage might be slightly off, but it's massive. By the time we're 35 years old, 95% of who we are, our habits, our emotional habits and patterns, is in the subconscious. 95%. So if you're using your conscious mind to sort of think positively, shall we say, like it's still important, but it's only 5%. It's not the operating system running the program. It's not the program that's running you. The subconscious is the bit that is running you. It's running me. It's like, that's why we've got to get in there underneath the analytical brain. So when we meditate, when we do it properly, and I can teach you how to do this, they're guided meditations. So don't freak out if you've sat in meditation before and gone, I can't do this, the silence is killing me. These ones are guided ones, but they're very specific. And what happens is it slows the brain waves down, literally slows your brain waves down from sort of alert beta through down to alpha, which is where we're creative, where we start to think a little bit more in pictures, less words, and it's underneath the analytical mind. Alpha can bridge both, but we want to get underneath into alpha and then maybe even into theta, which is usually when we're sort of on the way to dreaming, on the way to falling asleep. Meditation gets us to that spot. That is when the gateways open into the subconscious, and that is when you choose what you would like to put in there. You choose who you're going to be. You choose the thoughts and feelings that that person would be. And again, there's so much evidence coming back that this stuff works. I'll give you one piece of evidence about meditation. At minimum, even the people who, so this is from Dr. Joe Dispenza from like one of the workshops that I went to. At minimum, even the people who were sitting in their meditations thinking, I've got no idea if this is working. I don't know. It's like, I'm really not sure. But they're still doing it. They're going all in. They're doing their best to kind of, let go and can drop into the moment and allow thoughts to just pass through and not cling on to anything. But even those people had like the minimum result they found in their blood, because they've done tests before and after these retreats, the minimum that they found was a 50% increase in their immune systems. So their I think it's the IgA, immunoglobulin A, I think it is. It's a key indicator of how strong your immune system. 50% increase after like 5 days of meditating, sort of as best you could. So I'll leave you with that. So the 6-week course, we learn a whole bunch of science about it to bring the analytical mind on board for the trip. So there's no just blind faith, right? Like we actually want to really test these theories out and push them a little bit, push the edges. Practices that we do with our eyes open to really start bringing our conscious minds on board, to again become aware of what are those sort of previously subconscious thoughts that I was having, thoughts and feelings. What is my emotional home? Where do I go to? Do I often go to guilty stuff? Do I go to lack, always looking for what's wrong? Do I go to anger? So stuff that just refocuses the mind where we want to go. And thirdly is this meditation and the practicing of all of these things, because nothing shifts until we practice. It's going to take a little bit of practice, right? To A, become aware, and then B, redesign these thoughts and feelings that we have. So 6 weeks is short, but it's definitely enough to give you an excellent kickstart, especially shedding the last bloody 3 years of COVID stuff. Last point I wanted to say was that what I love about this process too is never Never, ever, ever will I ask you to dig into your trauma and bring it all up to the surface again or tell me about it. If you have something that you need to share, then it's coming up for you and it's helpful for you to share it. Great, it's going to be a safe container for you. There's an option to add on one-on-one coaching if that appeals to you. Otherwise, it's group online program. You never, ever have to bring up the old stuff because you know what that does? It just re-brings up all the feelings in the body. So it re-brings up all of those stress reactions in the body, which is where the disease comes in. Anyway, which is where that incoherence comes in. What we're doing is practicing redirecting to how we want to think and feel. Who do we want to be? Who do we want to be? You might be looking at a tiny shift. You might just be interested and curious about what's possible and can I have a really trippy experience of meditation. You might be wanting to heal your body. You might be wanting to attract love or wealth or any of that stuff. All we're doing is practicing the new way we want to think. We do not need to dissect old problems. The end. The body will burn those off throughout the process of meditation. That's why it's so uncomfortable to start with. Anyway, wanted to let you know. I'll leave it there. That's it. I love you. I would love to hear back from you. Please, let me know with an email. That's my sign for email, by the way. Or drop a comment, whatever works. How are you? How have you been? Let me know if I can help or if you've got any questions about the Mojo Reset program. Just let me know. We start on Monday, the 7th of November. So only a few days away. So enrollments close on the 6th. See ya.